On November 30th, 2021, 15-year-old Ethan Crumbley entered Oxford High School in Michigan carrying his father's 9mm handgun. He opened fire, killing 4 students and injuring several others. He had planned the attack carefully, detailing his intentions in a journal and even searching for information on Michigan's prison sentences the day before.
What the court notes is that he has an obsession with violence, that this act involved extensive planning, extensive research, and he executed on every last one of the things that he planned.
The shooting began during school hours when Ethan opened fire in the hallway, targeting students. He killed 3 victims at the scene and a 4th died later in the hospital from their injuries. The crime unfolded quickly, and first responders arrived at the scene as the school was evacuated. Despite the chaos, Ethan's actions were premeditated, and he even used his father's handgun, which was reported missing just hours before the shooting. Ethan's father, James, called 911 after realizing the gun was gone, but by that point, it was already too late. When Ethan was arrested, he showed little concern for the lives lost or the suffering he had caused. In fact, one of his only concerns was his cat, Dexter, named after the infamous TV character.
I love you.
During his time in custody, Ethan displayed unsettling behavior, including chaotic meltdowns and frequent cries of regret. But his actions during the trial and sentencing proved otherwise. During his trial, Ethan's defense team initially pleaded not guilty by reason of insanity, citing mental health issues. However, the prosecution quickly dismantled this defense by presenting his chilling messages, plans, and the cold nature of the crime.
In his written opinion and order regarding the Miller hearing, defendant's alleged mental illness did not interfere with his ability to extensively plan for months. His actions, nor did it interfere with his ability to execute those plans.
Victim impact statements were delivered by the families of those lost. They spoke of the pain they felt, the empty spaces left in their lives, and how they would never have the chance to see their loved ones grow up.
I was forced to do the worst possible thing a parent could do. I was forced to say goodbye to my Madison.
When given the chance to speak, Ethan apologized to the victims' families, acknowledging that his actions had caused irreparable harm. He admitted he could not undo what he had done, but he expressed that he would try to help others in the future.
I am a really bad person. I have done terrible things that no one should ever do. I have lied, been not trustworthy. I've hurt many people, and that's what I've done, and I'm not denying it, but that's not who I plan on to be.
The court, recognizing the severity of his actions and the planning involved, sentenced Ethan Crumbley to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus an additional 24 years for the charges related to the shooting.
I have cried for you and the loss of your children more times than I can count.
Ethan's parents, James and Jennifer Crumbley, also faced severe consequences. They were charged with involuntary manslaughter for failing to secure the handgun and ignoring warning signs of their son's violent tendencies. It was later revealed that Ethan had even asked his father to buy the gun, and his mother had taken him to a shooting range days before the attack. In a shocking twist, Ethan's parents went into hiding after the shooting, but were later found and arrested. They were sentenced to 10 years in prison. In 2013, 14-year-old Philip Chisholm committed one of the most shocking and brutal crimes in Massachusetts history. Chisholm, a student at Danvers High School, murdered his math teacher Colleen Ritzer in a savage and senseless attack that would later send shockwaves through the community. On October 22, 2013, Colleen Ritzer, a beloved math teacher, was preparing to leave Danvers High School when she encountered Philip Chisholm in the school hallway. Chisholm, who had secretly been stalking Ritzer, followed her into the school's bathroom, where he violently attacked her. He karate chopped her neck to render her unconscious before using a box cutter to slit her throat. After the murder, Chisholm put Ritzer's body in a recycling bin, wheeled it out of the bathroom, and dragged it through the school to the woods nearby.
Face is exposed.
Yes, it is.
He has nothing on his head.
He does not.
And there is quite a bit of blood on his jeans.
Yes, there is.
Chisholm went on to use Ritzer's stolen credit card to buy a movie ticket. Hours later, police found him walking along a highway, and upon questioning, he admitted to the murder. His confession included chilling details about the crime, including where he had disposed of the body and the brutal nature of his attack on Ritzer. At trial, the prosecution laid out the horrific details of the crime, using Chisholm's own confession as key evidence. They argued that the murder was premeditated, highlighting that Chisholm had arrived at school that day with gloves, a mask, and a box cutter. Chisholm's defense team acknowledged that he had killed Ritzer, but claimed that he was suffering from a severe mental illness, specifically a psychotic disorder he had experienced since the age of 10. Despite this defense, the jury convicted Chisholm of first-degree murder, armed robbery, and first-degree assault. The court, recognizing the extreme violence and lack of remorse, sentenced Chisholm to life in prison, with the possibility of parole after 40 years.
This court will impose a concurrent sentence of 40 years to 40 years and 1 day for the rape of Colleen Ritzer, and a concurrent sentence of 40 years to 40 years and 1 day for the armed robbery.
While serving his sentence, Chisholm's violent behavior did not stop. In 2014, while awaiting trial for Ritzer's murder, he attacked and seriously injured a male juvenile detention worker. Chisholm, who had been incarcerated at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Dorchester, was later convicted of attempted murder and kidnapping for the attack on the staff member. In 2024, Chisholm pled guilty to these charges, and he was sentenced to an additional 17 to 20 years in state prison for the assault.
Philip Chisholm pleaded guilty today in Suffolk Juvenile Court to attempted murder and kidnapping charges. He was 15 when he was charged with attacking and seriously injuring a female DYS worker back in 2014.
On May 1, 2023, 15-year-old rapper Caden Holland, also known as Baby K, became the center of a shocking crime in Prince George's County, Maryland. Holland, known for his music that often glorified violence, including carjackings, took part in an attempted murder that occurred aboard a school bus. Accompanied by 2 other accomplices, Holland boarded the bus and attempted to shoot a 14-year-old student. With a gun in hand, Holland pulled the trigger 3 times, but each attempt was thwarted as the weapon jammed. Miraculously, the student was unharmed, sparing him from what could have been a deadly encounter.
Prince George's County Police have released photos of 3 very young suspects who they say forced their way right into a school bus Monday to try and kill a middle schooler.
Once Holland was captured, he faced severe charges, including attempted murder in the first degree. The legal proceedings were swift, and Holland eventually pled guilty to all charges. In exchange for his plea, Holland agreed to a minimum sentence of 25 years in prison. Though his actions were horrific, Holland's legal team and the prosecution worked to ensure that the plea agreement would bring a swift resolution to the case. His guilty plea spared the community and the victim's family the emotional toll of a long, drawn-out trial.